Have you ever felt that electric flutter deep in your stomach when someone you're drawn to walks into the room, that unspoken spark that seems to change the temperature of the air itself? Most of us have. And just as often, we've found ourselves wondering the same quiet question. Do they feel it too? It's a question that has haunted human hearts since the beginning of time, and one that psychology, particularly the work of Carl Jung, has tried to illuminate in ways that reach far beyond logic or words. Jung believed that much of what we communicate never passes through speech. Beneath our carefully chosen sentences, there's an invisible current of gestures, glances, micro-expressions, and silences that reveal what we truly feel even when we're unaware of it. The unconscious, he said, is always speaking. And when we're drawn to someone, that silent language becomes louder, more magnetic, and often more truthful than anything the conscious mind can admit. It begins with the eyes. They are not merely organs of sight, but as Jung often said, gateways to the soul. When someone feels a genuine deep pull toward you, their gaze changes in ways that cannot be faked. They may hold eye contact, just a heartbeat longer than normal, searching for something they don't yet understand. Their pupils widen, not by will, but by biology, responding to the magnetic draw of attraction. It's the body revealing what the mouth cannot say, that in your presence, something within them awakens. But the eyes are only the beginning. The unconscious also seeks closeness through proximity. A person interested in you will find small, almost unnoticeable excuses to be near, asking trivial questions, lingering a little longer after conversation, brushing against your arm in passing. These moments are rarely calculated. They're simply the body acting on behalf of the heart. Jung believed this instinctive pull toward what we desire or identify with is the psyche's way of reaching for connection before the mind has found the courage to do so. The same truth appears in how they respond to your emotions. A person whose interest runs deep doesn't just notice when you're happy or sad, they feel it. They tune in, almost automatically mirroring your emotional shifts with a kind of quiet empathy. Jung called this the unconscious resonance, a subtle alignment of energies that allows two souls to sense one another without words. When someone rushes to comfort you before you even ask, when they seem to know what you need without explanation, you're witnessing that resonance in motion. Then there is the strange phenomenon Jung named synchronicity, those coincidences that feel too precise to be random. Maybe you keep running into this person unexpectedly, or discover you share the same obscure interests, or that your thoughts seem to move in parallel. Each time you say, "What a coincidence," what you're really acknowledging is the whisper of the unconscious, creating invisible threads between you. For Jung, these moments weren't accidents. They were the psyche's way of signaling a deeper connection, a sense that destiny itself might be leaning closer. Body language, too, betrays what we try to conceal. You can see it in the way they turn toward you, the openness of their stance, the slight forward lean as if pulled by gravity itself. Arms uncrossed, eyes attentive, posture relaxed. These are the signs of someone unconsciously inviting closeness. And when you notice them mirroring your gestures, crossing a leg when you do, matching your tone or rhythm, it's not mimicry. It's the unconscious creating harmony, reflecting empathy, a wordless dance between two energies that recognize each other. But the deepest signals of interest often reveal themselves not through confidence but through nervousness. Sometimes attraction manifests as hesitation, a sudden awkward laugh, a hand brushing the back of the neck, a fumbling with objects. Jung believed these slips of the body were expressions of emotional tension, moments when the unconscious struggles to contain what the conscious mind isn't ready to confess. They are small tremors of truth breaking through composure. And then there is the silence, that rare kind that doesn't feel empty, but charged alive, almost sacred. When someone listens to you with complete presence, when the air between you thickens with unspoken meaning, it's more than politeness. Jung would say it's the unconscious recognizing something familiar, an archetypal energy that transcends the rational. That person doesn't just hear your words, they absorb them as if each one carries a piece of their own reflection. Sometimes in these moments you feel an odd familiarity, as if you've known them before. The connection feels ancient, predestined. Time behaves differently. Minutes stretch, conversations blur, and when you part, their energy lingers like a faint echo. Jung described this as the anima and animus, the inner masculine and feminine energies that, when mirrored in another, awaken profound recognition. It's not magic. It's the soul meeting itself in disguise. And when that happens, you may notice that both of you begin to change subtle but real shifts in attention, emotion, even behavior. It's as if the unconscious, having found its mirror, begins to speak more loudly, guiding you toward a truth that words alone could never name. Once that invisible current awakens, everything around it begins to shift in tone. Jung believed that when two unconscious minds resonate, they create what he called a psychic field, a space charged with meaning and sensitivity. Within that field, even small gestures acquire weight. A glance, a pause, a shared smile suddenly seem to carry entire conversations inside them. You begin to feel that you're no longer merely speaking to someone, but communing with something larger, a silent dialogue of souls. One of the clearest reflections of this unconscious dialogue is empathy. When someone truly feels drawn to you, they become attuned to your inner weather. They sense your unease even when you mask it with a smile. They notice the quiet shift in your eyes before you admit that something's wrong. And when you share your burdens, they respond not from duty, but from instinct. Jung described this as the participation mystique, the merging of emotional states between two psyches, who at least temporarily lose the boundary between self and other. This empathy is not forced. It flows naturally, as if one heart had begun to echo the rhythm of another. But attraction doesn't always appear as serenity. Often it trembles beneath the surface as tension. The more meaningful a bond feels, the less control the conscious mind seems to have over it. That's why the person may sometimes appear nervous, distant, or even contradictory. One day they seem close, almost luminous in their attention. The next, they withdraw into silence. Jung explained such contradictions as evidence of conflict between the conscious and unconscious, a battle between desire and fear, vulnerability and control. The soul yearns for union, but the ego trembles at what that might mean. At times, this inner conflict produces awkwardness, words that stumble, laughter that comes at the wrong moment, or conversations that twist unexpectedly into vulnerability. These aren't social errors. They're the unconscious trying to speak through the cracks of composure. It's the psyche saying, "Something here matters to me more than I can explain." When you witness these moments, know that they are among the truest signs of interest, not polished gestures, but raw human slips of authenticity. Then there's memory, one of the most overlooked yet revealing expressions of care. If someone remembers your offhand remark from weeks ago, recalls the name of your childhood pet, or surprises you by repeating a line you didn't realize had touched them, that's not coincidence. Jung wrote that the psyche stores emotionally charged material with special intensity. We remember what our unconscious deems valuable. So when another person carries fragments of your words with them, they're not just remembering, they're cherishing. In the landscape of the unconscious memory is affection made visible. Sometimes the connection becomes almost anticipatory. They seem to know what you're about to say, sense your mood before you voice it, or reach out at the very moment you were thinking of them. Jung saw these moments as extensions of the subtle energy field that links two people who are emotionally aligned. He didn't call it telepathy, rather it was a form of intuitive sensitivity that arises when two psyches are in resonance. You may find that you start finishing each other's sentences, or that silence itself feels like communication. These are not coincidences. They are signals of a shared current flowing beneath awareness. This resonance can also manifest through what Jung termed psychic transference, when one person begins to mirror the psychological patterns, tastes, or even dreams of another. Perhaps they start quoting your favorite author, listening to your music, or adopting your expressions without realizing it. The unconscious seeking union naturally imitates what it admires. It's as if both of you are slowly weaving parts of each other into your own inner stories. That blending of energies doesn't happen with everyone. It happens only when the unconscious feels it has found something of itself reflected in another. Yet with all its beauty, this invisible bond can also stir unease. Jung wrote often about the shadow, that portion of the psyche that hides what we most fear to feel. When someone we desire activates this part of us, jealousy, insecurity, or defensiveness may arise uninvited. If you notice that person tenses when others show interest in you, or their tone shifts when your attention drifts elsewhere, you are witnessing their shadow stepping into the light. It's not necessarily possessiveness, it's the unconscious revealing how much is at stake. The heart defends what it values most. But perhaps the rarest and purest sign of connection is comfort in silence. When two people can share a quiet moment without the urge to fill it, when presence alone feels like language you've crossed into something sacred. Jung believed that the soul recognizes safety not through conversation, but through stillness. In that stillness, masks dissolve, and essence meets essence. If you can sit beside someone without speaking and feel understood, you are witnessing what words were never designed to express the peace of being seen. That quiet sense of being seen without explanation often becomes the threshold to a deeper transformation. Jung wrote that when two souls meet in genuine recognition, they awaken something archetypal within each other, an inner force that draws them toward growth even when that growth is uncomfortable. It's why some connections seem to rearrange the interior architecture of your life. They don't just make you feel, they make you evolve. You may notice that this person begins to reveal more of their inner world, not the polished version they show to most people, but the vulnerable, uncertain, beautifully human one. They share fears, memories, old wounds that have shaped them. Jung believed that we expose our shadow only to those who unconsciously feel safe, to those who symbolize healing and transformation. When someone entrusts you with their pain, it's a sacred gesture. It means you have become a mirror where they can confront what they usually hide. And when that exchange is mutual, something remarkable happens. Both souls begin to individuate, Jung's term, for the process of becoming whole. Love, or deep connection in this sense, becomes an alchemical process. Each person reflects the other's light and darkness, helping both to integrate the parts of themselves they had long disowned. If that person encourages your growth, celebrates your small victories as if they were their own, or listens to your dreams with genuine enthusiasm, it's not just affection. It's the unconscious recognizing in you a catalyst for its own completeness. Attraction of this depth often feels both exhilarating and terrifying. There may be moments when the other person retreats or grows distant, not because their feelings have faded, but because they are overwhelmed by what the connection stirs inside them. Jung said the soul trembles before what it truly desires. Sometimes people run not from indifference but from intensity, from the mirror that shows them more of themselves than they expected to see. If you sense hesitation or confusion in them, understand that these emotions can be part of the same current that draws them toward you. The psyche resists transformation even as it longs for it. Dreams often become the stage where this hidden drama unfolds. Jung considered dreams the royal road to the unconscious, revealing what the waking mind cannot articulate. If you begin to dream about this person not casually but vividly emotionally, it's a sign that your psyche is integrating their image into your inner world. The same can be true for them. When someone appears in another's dreams repeatedly, it often means they've become a symbolic figure in that person's psychological landscape. The dream world with all its mystery confirms what the heart already suspects, that the bond exists on levels deeper than awareness. And sometimes the body itself joins the conversation. You might feel your heart rate quicken when they enter the room, or an unexplainable calm when they speak. Jung saw such physical sensations not as mere chemistry, but as psychosomatic expressions of unconscious emotion. The body is the stage on which the soul performs its truth. Every small tremor, every warmth or chill, every instinctive smile, it's the language of something older than logic. As the bond deepens, synchronicities often multiply. You think of them, and they appear. You dream of a place, and later they mention it. You open a book and find a passage about the very feeling they once described. Jung viewed synchronicities as evidence of a hidden order connecting inner and outer worlds, a conversation between psyche and universe. To those involved, these moments feel like whispers from destiny, signs that the relationship is more than random chance. Whether or not we call it fate, it speaks to the mysterious alignment that occurs when two inner lives begin to orbit each other. But not all signs are luminous. Sometimes what reveals love is absence. When they're gone and you notice their energy lingering in the music you hear in the stillness of your room, in the way your thoughts circle back to them, that's the unconscious marking significance. Jung said that what has touched the soul cannot be forgotten. It becomes part of its fabric. The mind may try to move on, but the unconscious continues the dialogue in silence, keeping the connection alive beneath awareness. Over time, this invisible exchange can even inspire creativity. People in the presence of such connection often begin to write, paint, compose, or dream in new ways. The energy between two resonant souls acts like fire to the imagination. Jung saw this as the psyche's attempt to give form to the ineffable, to express through art what cannot be said directly. If that person has grown more expressive since you entered their life, it may be that your presence awakened in them a forgotten creative impulse. And when you find yourself doing the same, capturing emotions in words, feeling compelled to create, or discovering parts of yourself you never knew existed, it's because the connection has become a mirror for your evolution. The unconscious, stirred by love, begins to unfold its wings. As this bond matures, the energy between two souls often starts to alter the spaces around them. Jung suggested that symbols are not confined to the inner world, they project themselves outward, shaping the physical settings in which transformation occurs. When someone begins to invite you into their most personal environments, their home, their favorite quiet corners, or places filled with memories, it's not merely social courtesy. It's an act of inner exposure. By sharing the geography of their life, they're unconsciously saying, "This is my world, and I trust you enough to let you see it." The unconscious recognizes safety before the mind admits it. You may also notice something subtler, a certain preparation that precedes your encounters. They dress a little more carefully, their voice carries a nervous lightness, or they seem momentarily distracted, as if rehearsing what to say. Jung wrote that the soul trembles before what it loves because it senses transformation on the horizon. That nervous anticipation is not superficial, it's the psyche's acknowledgement of sacred territory. Before every meeting, the unconscious arranges itself like an altar readying for communion. And when the time comes to part ways, even the farewell speaks. The conscious mind may say goodbye, but the body often hesitates. A pause lingers before they turn away, their eyes return once more, or a hand stays in motion as if reluctant to let go. Jung called this the pull of the self, the deeper center of being that seeks permanence where it feels at home. When someone resists the act of leaving, when the air itself seems to hold both of you in suspension, it's the unconscious whispering that it has found belonging. But there is one phenomenon Jung found most mysterious of all: synchronicity at the edge of the visible world. You think of them, and they reach out. A song plays the moment their name crosses your mind. The same phrase appears in a book or an ad, as if echoing a private language between you. These events defy logic but not meaning. Jung believed synchronicity was the universe's way of revealing connection through symbol rather than cause. When it happens repeatedly, it's as if existence itself has become a mirror for your relationship, confirming in subtle ways what both of you already sense. Sometimes those coincidences grow so precise they border on the sacred. You dream of them one night and the next day they speak of a similar dream. You both notice the same color everywhere or feel restless at the same hour. These shared experiences, trivial on the surface, are the unconscious weaving its tapestry of recognition. They're reminders that love, when it reaches beyond the ego, begins to resonate across dimensions of thought, emotion, and even time. Yet for all its wonder, such a connection also brings challenge. When two people mirror each other's souls, they expose not only light, but shadow. You might find old wounds resurfacing, fears you thought long buried rising again. Jung saw this as the inevitable friction of transformation. Every true bond tests our ability to integrate what we've denied. The other becomes both a sanctuary and a mirror, showing us where healing is still needed. If that person triggers strong emotion in you, jealousy, impatience, longing, it may be because your unconscious recognizes in them the doorway to your own evolution. The deeper the resonance, the more difficult it becomes to separate where one ends and the other begins. You might find yourself adopting their phrases, their gestures, their outlook on life. They in turn begin to echo pieces of you, not imitation, but integration. Jung called this symbolic identification, the unconscious blending of energies between two psyches seeking balance. Over time, the boundary softens. You start to carry part of each other's essence, even when apart. Distance then becomes another kind of conversation. When they're gone and life feels slightly muted, it's not loneliness, but recognition of how much of you now exists in them. Jung suggested that the psyche continues to commune with absent figures through imagination and dream. The absence isn't emptiness. It's proof that a portion of your inner life has crossed into theirs. When you meet again, that invisible bridge hums with familiarity, as though no time has passed at all. And if the connection is genuine, it teaches a quiet truth about love itself, that it's less about possession than resonance. Love doesn't need to declare itself loudly. It reveals its depth in subtleties, in the patience to listen, in the courage to see another's shadow without turning away. Jung believed that every relationship worthy of the soul carries the potential for transformation, not because it completes us, but because it awakens the parts of us we had forgotten were asleep. So if you find yourself sensing these signs, the lingering glances, the inexplicable coincidences, the peace that arrives in their presence, don't dismiss them. You might be witnessing the psyche's most ancient language, one that speaks not in sentences, but in symbols, timing, and intuition. The unconscious rarely shouts, it whispers. And when you learn to hear it, your understanding of connection changes forever. When the unconscious begins to whisper its truth, it rarely does so all at once. It speaks in fragments, in gestures, pauses, memories, and dreams, as if testing whether the conscious mind is ready to receive its message. Jung often said that the soul reveals itself only in symbols because symbols protect what is sacred. In love, those symbols become our everyday language, the message almost sent, but deleted. The glance quickly dropped the question that hides a confession beneath its surface. These small hesitations carry a weight that logic can't measure. They are the voice of the unconscious, cautious but honest, trying to bridge the distance between two hearts. You begin to notice how much meaning lives in restraint, in what's unsaid rather than spoken. A text they rewrite before sending, a moment when their lips part as if to speak, but close again, the silence that fills the air after an almost confession. Jung called this the tension of opposites, the soul yearning for expression, while the ego hesitates out of fear. The beauty of it lies in its truth. What the conscious mind represses, the unconscious keeps revealing through blushes, tremors, laughter that comes too suddenly, or eyes that refuse to lie. Each small contradiction is a testament to depth. Over time, you realize that love in Jung's sense is not an event, but an evolution. It's a dialogue between two inner worlds, learning to understand each other's language. Every connection that matters forces both people to confront themselves. That's why the greatest relationships are rarely simple. They challenge your patterns, dissolve your defenses, and demand honesty. Jung believed that those who truly touch our souls are not coincidences, but catalysts, figures sent to awaken what within us still sleeps. They arrive to remind us of our own wholeness, even if the process is sometimes painful. Sometimes this awakening unfolds gently through laughter, shared dreams, long walks, and the quiet certainty of belonging. Other times it erupts through confusion, distance, or misunderstanding. But whether soft or sudden, its purpose is the same: to lead both people toward greater awareness. The unconscious does not seek comfort, it seeks meaning. And when two people cross paths at the right moment in their individual journeys, something within both recognizes that meaning instantly. The mind may take time to understand, but the soul always knows. This recognition is what Jung called the meeting of archetypes, the moment one person mirrors the other's inner image of what love, safety, or transformation looks like. That's why some connections feel fated. They activate the mythic within us, the timeless story of longing and discovery that every human carries. To love, then, is to step into a myth of one's own making, to play a role that awakens something ancient inside. Yet even as you experience this, the practical world continues to move. Life demands decisions, responsibilities, boundaries. Jung never romanticized connection as escape. He saw it as integration, learning to hold the mystery of love within the structure of ordinary days. The real magic lies not in dramatic declarations, but in subtle constancy, the way they look for you in a crowded room, the way your mind quiets when they speak, the way you both sense that something greater than reason is guiding you. And there comes a moment sometimes after months, sometimes years, when you realize that what began as attraction has turned into understanding. You can finally read their silences as clearly as their words. You notice that their laughter carries your rhythm and your gestures echo theirs. You've become emotional reflections of one another. This is the quiet completion Jung described, not the merging of two halves, but the meeting of two wholes who have learned to see and be seen without illusion. In the end, every Jungian journey of love leads back to the same revelation. What we recognize in another is what longs for acknowledgement within ourselves. The person who draws us most deeply is not only someone we desire, but someone who reveals who we might yet become. Through them, we glimpse our own capacity for empathy, courage, and depth. Through their eyes, we see our soul illuminated. So if someone's presence lingers long after they've gone, if their energy hums quietly through your days, or if coincidences keep pulling your lives into rhythm, don't rush to label it or force it into form. Simply notice. The unconscious has its own language, and sometimes love is how it chooses to speak. Trust that what is real will remain, not because it's possessed, but because it has transformed both of you. If this reflection resonated with you, if you saw yourself, your story, or your own silent connection in these words, take a moment to share it. Someone else may be searching for the meaning you've just found. Like this video, share it with those who seek to understand the hidden language of the soul, and subscribe to continue exploring the mysteries Carl Jung left behind. In a world of noise, let's keep listening to the whispers that matter most, the ones that come from within.